What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Sunday, March 27th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 6-game slate tonight, so let's take a look at the point guard position. So I got a stud pick for you here. I like Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks playing the Utah Jazz, who have a good defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing point guards. Luka Doncic has averaged 56 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 36 minutes per game with a 37% usage rate. He's projected at 54.8 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score closer to 60 fantasy points, get you 5 times value or more. He's $11,600 DraftKings salary, $1,300 less on FanDuel. So I love that FanDuel price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 219.5 points scored in this game. Luka Doncic has scored 53 and 39 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 36 and 37 minutes. But I like this pick because Luka has scored 76, 51, and 55 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Jazz. I just think he's due for a 60-plus fantasy point performance. So I like Luka Doncic here versus the Utah Jazz. Okay, another point guard that I like. You want to save some salary here. This guy's got some huge upside, and his salary has come down quite a bit because he hasn't been playing, but he did come back, and he had a good game his last game, so I think he's going to be back in action, playing 30 minutes or more. So I like Chris Paul from the Phoenix Suns playing the Philadelphia 76ers, who have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing point guards, but Chris Paul has averaged 41.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 20% usage rate. He's projected at 39.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.5 times value. He's $7,200 DraftKings salary, and he's $600 less on FanDuel. So I love that price on both sites, but I think he's a smash FanDuel play. Lock for me on FanDuel. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 229 points scored in this game. And Chris Paul scored 46 fantasy points in his first game back to action, and he played 30 minutes. So I like Chris Paul here versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. Here's another guy who I think is underpriced on both sites, especially on FanDuel. I like D'Angelo Russell from the Minnesota Timberwolves playing the Boston Celtics, who have a good defense overall, and they've been good versus opposing shooting guards. But D'Angelo Russell has averaged 36.2 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He's projected at 34.8 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.3 times value. He's 6,500 DraftKings salary, 800 less on FanDuel, so I love that FanDuel price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 227.5 points scored in this game, and D'Angelo Russell has scored 33, 20, and 32 fantasy points in his last 3 games, playing 30, 27, and 28 minutes. So his minutes have come down just a little bit in the last 3 games, but this guy can still put up 30 plus fantasy points and get you well over 5 times value, especially on FanDuel. So I like D'Angelo Russell here versus the Boston Celtics. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. Now, I like this play. This is more of a DraftKings play for me. He's priced up on FanDuel. So I like Mikal Bridges from the Phoenix Suns playing the Philadelphia 76ers, who have a good defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing small forwards. Mikal Bridges, he's averaged 26.8 fantasy points per game on the season, but he's playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. So he's projected at 29.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's 5,700 DraftKings salary, but he's 900 more on FanDuel. So not going to play him on FanDuel. A lot of other better plays on FanDuel, much lower salary. But I like his DraftKings price. We know Vegas thinks there's going to be 229 points scored in this game. And Mikal Bridges has scored 28, 31, and 36 fantasy points in the last 3 games. And the reason I like this pick is because he's playing monster minutes, played 38, 39, and 50 fantasy points in the last 3 games. Now, Chris Paul is back, and that may take away from his fantasy point production just a little bit, maybe even eat into his minutes a little bit. But last game, he played 38 minutes with Chris Paul on the court. So I just like this DraftKings price at 5,700. He can score 30 plus fantasy points and get you over 5 times value. So I like Mikal Bridges on DraftKings here versus the Philadelphia 76ers.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Kristaps Porzingis from the Washington Wizards playing the Golden State Warriors, who have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing power forwards. Kristaps Porzingis has averaged 37.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. But his minutes per game and his production have gone way up after moving to the Washington Wizards, not having to compete with Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks. So he's projected at 38.8 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 42 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's 8,500 DraftKings salary, 200 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 221.5 points scored in this game, and Kristaps Porzingis has scored 57, 36, and 57 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He played 32 minutes in each of those games, and he scored 40 and 37 fantasy points in the 2 games before that. So I think he's got a pretty decent floor with his role with the Washington Wizards, and we know he's got a big ceiling with those 57 fantasy point games. So he could put up 50 plus fantasy points here tonight. So I like Kristaps Porzingis here versus the Golden State Warriors. Okay, moving on to the center position. I'm going to spare you the Rudy Gobert spiel, but I do like him here tonight. He's $7,800 DraftKings salary, $400 less on FanDuel, projected at 41 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.3 times value. So I think he is a good mid-range to higher salary center. And really, that's the guy that's going to be in my lineup, just because I'm going to try to save some salary at the center position, because not a lot of super value plays that I love on this slate. So I'm going to try to go with some mid-range picks. But if you do want to go with a stud at the center position, take a look at Joel Embiid from the Philadelphia 76ers playing the Phoenix Suns, who have a good defense overall, middle of the pack defending opposing centers. Joel Embiid has averaged 55.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 37% usage rate. He's projected at 55.5 fantasy points here tonight, just about 5 times value. He's $11,400 DraftKings salary, $400 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 229 points scored in this game. And Joel Embiid has scored 50 and 60 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 27 and 34 minutes. And he scored 61, 68, and 50 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Suns. So I like Joel Embiid here versus the Phoenix Suns.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video, or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.